Welcome to the Black Educated Tea Podcast. I'm your host, Makita Marie, and today's topic is all of this education and now what? Okay, so we're definitely going to get into that tea. But before we get into that, I want to talk about the tea that I'm drinking today. And I'm just drinking peppermint today. There may be several episodes where you hear me saying I'm drinking either spearmint or peppermint because it's just a peppermint type day. It's a really minty type day. So I really just wanted something really smooth, something really light. So I'm just drinking basic peppermint again. That's what I'm drinking today. I've added a little bit of honey into it just to give a little bit of sweetness. I didn't want a whole lot of different flavors today. Nothing robust or nothing like this. So I'm just drinking peppermint today, as I probably will be in other episodes as well. So if you all are like, okay, she's drinking peppermint again, here we go. Just embrace it. Just embrace it, because I love peppermint. So it's a minty day. So I'm drinking peppermint tea today. So let's go ahead and get into this tea about this topic, all of this education and now what. This is a topic that has really resonated with me for a while now. I will say for at least 15 years now. And I think recently it really started hitting home for me. It's like, okay, I have all this education and now what? Because, when you get your undergrad out of the way and you're like, okay, all the job opportunities are going to come a knocking or all the doors are going to open. And it's like a knock here and there, a door here and there. So you're like, okay, so maybe I need to go get more education. So then you go get your graduate degree, and it's like, okay, it may be one more extra knock or one more extra door or whatever. So you really just like, okay, I'm getting the degrees, I'm getting the education, but now what? And that's the thing that I struggled with. Because we have been taught for years and years that you go get the education, you go get the degrees or whatever, and the jobs are going to come, the opportunities are going to come, and it may not necessarily always be like that or whatever. I know plenty of people who have degrees in certain fields and they're not even working in that field. And I'm one of them. I am one of them amongst a lot of other people that I have conversations with. We have degrees in education or we have degrees in certain fields or business, and we end up finding ourselves in something totally different than what our degree is in. So for one, definitely get you a degree in something that you know that you're going to find a good job in. If you go to school for psychology, 9 out of 10 times you're going to end up sticking with that field. You're really going to stick with that field. And I think that's a decision that I should have made a long time ago. When I got into education, I wanted to teach, I wanted to change, I wanted to heal, I wanted to do all of these things, which I'm still able to do, in other ways. But I wanted to teach, I wanted to get into education. Then once you kind of get into the field, you're like, this is what I really want to do. Do I really want to do this? The money a little funny, the kids are a joy, but I can't even do my individualized tutoring or teaching that I want to do with the kids because I have so many and I'm teaching to the test and, so a lot of the fun or, when you once have that passion and it starts to decline some, I will say, because there are so many changes, within education. So definitely go into the field, get you a degree that that you're going to be able to stick with. Psychology is one. Pediatrician. There's so many degrees. Engineer. There's so many degrees that you can go get that 9 out of 10 times you're going to stick into that field or whatever. And then I also just had to embrace that maybe those jobs and things I was applying for just wasn't for me. Because I had got to a point that I don't even know how many jobs that I was applying for, and it was like, no, 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 no. We found another candidate. Appreciate, you're applying for this position, but we found another candidate, and I was so tired of getting those emails, the no, the no, the no. But looking back, I think that was maybe, God's grace, that those positions just wasn't for me. They wasn't a good fit. It's not where I needed to be at the time. I didn't look at it like that then because I'm like, I'm applying for stuff that I know I'm overqualified for, and I'm getting looked over. So it became demoralizing. I really started to feel some type of way about it because it's like, I know I'm qualified, if not overqualified for this position, and I didn't get it. It's like I can probably do this with my eyes closed, so why am I not getting it? So you start questioning yourself. It's like, can I really do it? Or Am I good enough to do this position? Do I have enough experience in education? You even start to question yourself for very mediocre positions because you're tired of the doors being closed and you're tired of not getting the opportunities, or you're tired of the no's. So you get to the point where you're like, okay, you just start applying for any and everything. So you're like, I need a job at this point. I just want a job at this point. I have went to school. I have the degrees, and I even have the experience. I just want a job at this point. So you even get to the point you start applying for any and everything, things that you probably do not want to do. Just, things you probably do not want to do, but you start applying for all these different positions because you're like, I just want a job. And then you start getting the phone calls, and you go through the interviews. Now, it is really hurtful when you apply for these jobs that you really know you don't want in the first place, and you go through the interview and you still don't get the job. That's even more hurtful when you get declined for a position that you didn't even want in the first place. But I started taking those opportunities and started looking at them as God's blockage, that I didn't need that position because I didn't want the position in the first place, to be honest. I was just like, oh, it pays good, and I'm like, I just need a job. I want to move on from what I'm doing now. But that was God's blockage, and he was like, nah, that's not for you. You don't want it in the first place, Makita. Why did you even apply for it? Why did I have to step in and stop you from getting this position? Because you didn't want it in the first place. So stop wasting your time and applying for a position that you don't even want. That was the lesson I got out of it. Stop applying for these positions that I know I really don't want to do. You went to school for something. Make it work for you. No matter what it is, even if it's education, start finding, or more than likely, create positions for yourself. That's what I started to do. I started to create opportunities for myself, which became more of the consulting thing, with my consulting business and the podcast itself, and just so many other opportunities that I started creating for myself. Because I'm like, the opportunities are not coming as I would like for them to, or whatever. And I just took that as even more motivation for God telling me that I'm not giving you these opportunities because this is what you're supposed to be doing. You should be creating your own opportunities and creating what you want to do, not this. Because it will be a continuing cycle. You continue to apply for these positions and you continue to apply for these jobs, but that's not necessarily what you want. So if you feel like you're in that spot, just find out a way to create your own opportunities, create your own positions. Now, on the flip side of all of that, there's another way I started to look at this. And I was like, what if I didn't have those degrees? So even now, I am thankful and I am embracing the fact that I have these degrees, because it could be totally opposite. It could be so much different or whatever. It could be to a point that I couldn't even have applied for these certain positions because I didn't have the degree. I wasn't even qualified for them when it came education-wise or whatever. And then you have to even look at the gap when it comes to salaries, when you have a degree, when you don't have a degree. So I know a lot of times we complain for those who have these degrees or whatever, because you're like, I have the degree, but I feel like I'm still not getting paid what I should. I feel like I'm still not getting the opportunities that I should. But just look at it on the flip side. Just look at it, if you didn't have that degree, would you be in the position that you are now? Would you have as many opportunities as you have now? And would you be able to even apply for some of these positions that you are applying for? So take the fact that you went through school, which is a huge accomplishment, no matter what your degree is. To get through the process of going to school, especially as an adult, when you have so many other responsibilities, you out here trying to adulting as they say, and you're still trying to go to school. So give yourself a pat on the back for that, because it could be totally different. So there's two ways you can look at that. And it's hard not to complain when you have went through the process of school, and for some, you got student loans, so now you have this debt. So, but still look at the fact that it opens the doors to more opportunities. It does open the doors to, positions that you may not have gotten without these degrees. So just embrace it. Embrace that you have these degrees, that you have put in the time to get these degrees, because that's not necessarily always the case. And for me, I'm embracing it. And I'm making sure that these degrees work for me, whether it's in corporate or whether it's me being an entrepreneur. No matter what it is, I'm making sure that these degrees work for me. I'm not going to let them go to waste. I'm not going to complain, because I'm proud of myself that I went through the progress and I took the time to get the degrees, because it could be totally different. So I think a lot of times we complain about things and we focus on the what ifs, or we focus on the negative things of it. But just embrace that you have these degrees, because your opportunities could be less, your salaries could be less without them. And make them work for you. Make them work for you. When you get to that point where you now realize that I am tired of looking for positions that I don't want, I'm overqualified for, create your own opportunities. Create your titles. Create your positions. And you do that by really knowing what it is, what you want to do, and knowing what your purpose is. And once you know those things, then, you really get out here and you'll start creating opportunities for yourself. That's the point it got for me. Because I'm like, I am tired of applying for these positions that I don't want to do, that, their salary look good, so let me give it a try. But then just think, what if I would have gotten those positions? And I would have felt so dreadful, and just, going into this job, not knowing this is something I don't want to do. So when you start really believing that God puts you where you need to be, you will really know that whatever job or whatever position that you are in right now, if you know that it's not what is for you, keep praying, keep talking to God, keep manifesting that you get in that position, that title, or get in that opportunity that you really want. But you have to manifest it, because if we keep thinking to ourselves, well, I can't get this job, I'm not going to get this job, or I'm not going to get, what's going to happen? You're not going to get that job. You're not going to get that opportunity. You're not going to get that position. So start manifesting the life, the career, the position, the opportunities that you want. You will be surprised that once you start writing these things down, speaking them out loud, or just manifesting it into existence, into the universe, you'll be surprised how things in your life will start changing. But as long as you keep that thought process that I had, and I use that in past tense, because I had that process. I had those thoughts that I couldn't do this position. I wasn't good enough for this position, or, they're not going to hire me anyways, or, if I get that position, who cares anyways? It's just another job. But once I started changing my ideals and my thoughts to more positive ones, that, I would love to have this job, but if God sees so that something else is more suitable for me, it is what it is. Start changing your thought processes, and you will be surprised how your life in general will start changing. So I want you all just to think on that. Really think on that. All of this education, and now what? And look at it from two angles. Look at it from two sides. Look at it as, okay, I do have all this education. Now what? So if you are in that position where you do have all of this education and you're asking yourself, now what? Either rebrand yourself, change some thoughts, some thought processes, and start finding opportunities, positions, and things that you know are for you. And if you're on the other side of that and you're like, I just want to get to the point that I do have my degree or whatever, I want you to keep pushing. I want you to get that degree. Anytime I hear anybody that say they're in school, I motivate. I say, please just go. Just go. Just go. Because, there's a lot of talk now, like, is a degree even needed or whatever. First off, that's something you have to ask yourself. I can't answer that for you. I honestly can't. But I really encourage you to go. To go get in a field or get a degree that you really want to do, where you know that you're going to be passionate about it. And the degree is going to follow you. No matter what it's in. That degree is going to follow you for the rest of your life. So I just encourage you to go. If you're stuck at that spot where you started school and you've stopped, or, you're thinking about going back to school or whatever, or you're in school now and you're trying to get to that point where you're completed, I say, please just go. Finish. Get your degree. Make it work for you or whatever. Then when you get in that position where you're like, okay, now I have the degree, what's next? Then you start figuring out next at that point, whatever that looks like for you. But I encourage you to go, to finish. Make the life that you want, with the degree, without the degree. Whatever it is, but I still just suggest that you go, because school has been a really great benefit for me. The people you meet, throughout school, the things you do learn, the relationships and the support, the knowledge that you do gain from school is really beneficial. So I suggest to go, get degrees, however many you want to get, and live the best life that you can. And as always, this is the Black Educated Tea Podcast.